Hello, everyone. Do not be afraid. This is Talking with Tam Incognito. I have the Dennis girls. Are you there?
Yeah.
I wish you could see me now.
I wish we could too.
Well, you watch this video when we get done for a good laugh this evening, okay?
All right.
All right, girls. I am very disturbed on products being imported at a high rate. Have you heard about this lately?
Oh, yeah.
And that the big scare was what? The orange juice, correct?
Absolutely.
And Diana, what was it about the orange juice?
Well, apparently, there's different companies that are getting oranges from outside of the USA, and the oranges are not regulated, of course, by the USA FDA standards, so they're having pesticides and things that are not in the range that they should be that are okay for us to consume. So we've got companies out here that we think we're buying USA products and finding out that the actual oranges for this circumstance were purchased outside of the USA.
April.
Yes.
You were at the market and you called me. What were you seeing?
I noticed because I was actually one of the consumers. As soon as I heard it, and Diana actually texted me and said it's high levels of fungicide in the OJ. It's something that Paul and I have been drinking for our entire almost marriage, and so I immediately told him we're not drinking it anymore. And I went down and to the grocery store and I started looking for what kind of juice, and the only one I could find was Florida's Natural. So I'm going to give them
That's right. Thumbs up!
Yeah, thumbs up for sure.
Yay!
And what was amazing was there was other consumers, and we all were talking about it and how bad it was, and that people were really reading the labels now. And so I hope that this brings a lot of awareness, and that Coca-Cola especially, realizes that this is something serious. And, maybe it wouldn't bother me as much, but I have a small child at home, and I don't want her to be exposed to this kind of toxic chemicals. So it was amazing to see as soon as those came out that people in the grocery stores were already changing their habits, their shopping habits, and really paying attention to what they were getting.
Well, and it happens that we usually buy frozen orange juice, and then for the last month, 6 weeks, I started buying, orange juice already pre-made, and it happens to be that my children love Florida Natural, April?
Yeah, Florida Natural.
And that's the one we've been buying the whole time. So thumbs up to my children for having good taste, and thumbs up to the manufacturer for not buying oranges from overseas. I just don't quite understand it. When I did my research, and I went on to a couple different sites, and one was the FDA, and 40% of the orange juice, we're getting from Brazil. So it's under some of these USA makers, but it's sounding like the oranges, like Diana is saying, are coming from Brazil. And I'm starting to have, I know that, okay, here, let me start over. I know that we have seasons, and some seasons are not good in the winter.
I'm here. I don't hear anybody else.
Okay, you just keep, she can't hear us.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
We lost you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, people. I'm putting you closer to the webcam, but maybe I'll bring you over here so that, Anyway, my concern is that we are looking at half of our fresh fruit being imported from overseas. And we're looking at 86% of our seafood, which I understand, that's going to be a higher percentage, but we still have the Pacific and the Atlantic. I don't understand why we're importing so much from overseas. 85% of our apple juice is imported from overseas. The only juice or fruit that's 99%, from here is grapefruit. So I'm a little, and even dried beans and lentils and things like that, 44% imported. And I don't know why. What do you think it is that so many of our products are imported in the food industry from overseas? Do you guys have any input on that?
It's all about the pricing. I mean, it's come down to the point of what it costs to produce. And, we need to start supporting our local farmers. If you have to pay twice the amount and we got to start eating less anyway, because
most of us are overweight.
Most of us are overweight.
Yeah.
The consumption, if you go over to England, you're not going to eat as much food. You're going to pay a lot more, but chances are they're probably eating stuff off their own land. So,
yeah,
you know, Americans are going to have to get back to let's grow on our land. If it means we have to eat less, hey, we're going to be able to lose some weight and might actually start looking good. So
that's right.
I think, you know, it's because we're trying to get the dollar amount down, but in return, we're selling ourselves short in our health.
We're selling ourselves to the devil. I mean,
well,
we really are. This is really sad because we're killing our own selves.
Well, and the other thing is, I've had some comments on my channels because I've kind of had this discussion before, and there was a farmer that discussed with me that the FDA is so strict that the pesticides and everything that he needs to use, and then the cost and etc. But I'm wondering, do we need to do what so many are starting to do, is go more organic, and that's going to cost us more money in the long run, but it might be the best approach?
Yes.
What do you think?
You figure what it's going to cost you to stay healthy, or once you get this disease, or you have a birth defect of a child that's born because of the pesticides, would you not rather spend a little extra money for that, you know, orange or orange juice, whatever, than what it's going to cost you in the long run? So, you know, I would much rather pay a little bit more and having the confidence that what I'm putting into my body is not got poisons in it than, you know, saving 50 cents and God knows what we got.
Right, and like she said, I mean, we're talking about this Obama health care and all these different insurance, you know, deals we're dealing with. If we're dealing with this, and like Diana said, you're going to deal with diseases, birth defects, that's costing this country even more money, and us as taxpayers. So that's something we need to be aware of, because I don't think we're really looking at the whole picture.
Well, and then how are the companies, if it's made in the USA, how are the companies getting away with having it imported from places like Brazil, and they don't have to meet the same standards? How are they getting away with that? Do you guys know?
I don't know.
So it would be nice if somebody listens.
I don't either, but I know that when I checked our grandfather's orange juice, when I went up there to check on him, I pulled out his Tropicana bottle, and it said on there USA/Brazil, and I said, get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's, you know, this is another piece we were going to talk about, the little show we watched on 2020.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that, girls, because I didn't get to see it. Go ahead and talk about it real quick.
The truffles, you know, if they are actually, what's the word I want to use?
They're actually advertising the truffles from France because the label was made in France.
Right. And they'll take the truffle because it was made in the USA, because it was a symbol. There's my word. Sorry, folks. If it's a symbol in the USA, they can use that, from what I understand. Even though the product came from China, they were selling China truffles in a French label, you know, product.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then they're assembling that in the USA. So you think you're buying a product in the USA? Well, guess what? You bought a product that the label might have been made in the USA, but the product that's in that can came from China. So,
and it's in the fine print. It was in the fine print, but no one would be looking for that.
Right.
You know?
Well, you know what? I remember a couple of years ago, and I was on the "Don't Buy from China" kick for a while, and for some reason I was reading labels, and it was garlic, garlic salt, garlic powder, all of it made in China. Then come to find out the garlic made in China. I'm like, why can't I had a patient years ago, probably about 15 years ago. She grew her own garlic, and it was wonderful. So why can we not have garlic farms in America?
Yeah.
You know, we made many trips out west. There's a lot of flat land, isn't there, girls?
Yes, there is.
And it would seem that the government, if they're making more stipulations and things like that, and you can't do this and you can't do that, we need to really try to come together and try to figure out how to feed ourselves. Because I'm afraid if we're this dependent on oil and our energy and our food, man, it is not looking good for the USA, is it?
No, not at all.
You know, if Newt's wanting to have his little colony on Mars. I told my husband this morning that may be where we're all heading, because we're going to lose our 50 states here, and we're all going to get shipped to Mars, because we don't own this country. No. Other countries own us, and they own our food and our oil. That's the easiest way to bring down this country. Do you agree or disagree?
Absolutely agree. And I agree. We're doing it to ourselves, and I don't understand why no one is seeing it. I mean, or maybe we're all seeing it, but nobody's doing anything about it or discussing it. We're too afraid we're going to hurt someone's feelings or step on someone's toes. But it's time for Americans to stand up and get our country back and quit letting, greed take our everything what we were as Americans, what we stand for.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that if we take little steps, start your own little herb garden. You can't fix something overnight, but you know what? Maybe start consuming less. Try to take an educated look at what you're purchasing, and is it made in the USA? Can you support your local farmers? The orange juice from Florida, they've got a nice commercial going on right now. I bet they're ecstatic. This is great for them. Mm-hmm. But take the time, try to do a little bit on your own, because, if everybody tries just a little, make a little step, just like on Good Morning America, if we all spent $25 at Christmas and bought a Christmas gift, we were going to create 200,000 jobs. Yeah. Well, guess what? If we all would just take the time and start trying to reach out to your local farmers, try to, grow yourself a little squash or something, we might start making a little difference.
Yeah. I agree with you, girls. Well, I appreciate you bringing this to my attention and coming on here and discussing, I think, a very important issue. And I would like anyone that does listen to this and has some more input on how these countries get away with having the different chemicals on our food, and the companies within our country can use their product. How's that legal? Mm-hmm. Because our own people can't do it. Our own farmers. How are these farmers in other countries getting away with it? It just doesn't seem, there's no common sense with that, Yeah,
well, we're letting it happen. We're letting it be shipped right in here.
Yeah, well, the government is. I mean, I didn't know this was all going on, and I didn't know that the government was allowing these companies to use their goods to come in here and hurt us. And, it's time that Americans take a stand. It may mean you don't have as much, and, even in just products. But if you buy American, do the best that you can. Try to buy local, support your local farmers, and I think that's the right steps to start taking, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, girls, thanks for joining me once again. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
USA.
Bye-bye.